What's up, YouTube? So, we've had some big things happen in the diesel world. Starting with the, well, the main thing, the L5P being now tunable and deletable. You go over to Jason Wehrli of Wehrli Fab. He has a video on his maroon L5P truck and dyno numbers. And let's just say, holy crap. And this is just starting. I'm sure that they'll be able to find more power and adjustments to get that beast even more. But the torque numbers alone are just incredible. Just incredible. And so that's exciting, because everybody was saying it'd never be done. They'll never be tunable. Well, that's not the case. So it's a ECU trade-in. You have to right now, PPEI, who is the one that has figured this out, you have to send them in a ECU, and they then send you an unlocked one, and then and that exchange is like $2,600. And then you have to buy an unlock, or then you have to get an unlocked transmission one, I believe, as well. And then once you've done that, then you're free to spend the, $800 to $1,000 for tunes and all of the delete, exhaust, hard parts. So you're looking at $4,000 to $6,000 probably for a full delete on a L5P right now. But at least it's doable. I mean, that thing's a monster anyway, and so being able to unlock the power on that thing and get rid of the stupid DEF and DPF really makes that truck a desirable truck, and it hopefully will start to push down the prices of the prior generations, because some of them were going for crazy numbers. I mean, if you found an LBZ for under 100,000 miles, with under 100,000 miles, I mean, you're paying upwards of 30,000 bucks for it, and that's just ridiculous for a truck that's over 10 years old. So hopefully this will start pushing down the prices. Sure, us guys that have got these trucks, yeah, but honestly, I wasn't planning on selling mine anytime soon anyway. So I love my truck, and what it's worth right now doesn't really matter to me. So it'll be interesting to see what happens over the next I'd say 6 to 12 months. See if the prices come down, see if things start to happen where the market will be a little more competitive. Hoping that some of these regulations on our diesel trucks, pickup trucks, will be loosened a little bit. It's one thing to tell somebody, tell a car manufacturer that they have to provide the emissions on a vehicle. It's another thing when you tell somebody who buys that vehicle and it becomes their property that they can't do what they want. So then it makes it, is it really your property? If you can't do with your property whatever you want, is it really your property? So that whole thing really gets under my skin. The government shouldn't have any say in what I do with my truck. Title's in my name. I'm the one that kicked out the money for it, not the government. I did. So until they're going to pay for the maintenance, until they're going to take care of all of the emissions crap that chokes off the motor and everything else that goes along with it, until they're going to pay the bill to fix the DPF, then they should have zero say over what I do with my property. So that's my take on the whole thing anyway. So haven't done a whole lot to the truck. Got a EGT gauge installed and a third brake light. Also did something that I've never done, and out of all of the money I have spent on this truck, from the $500 for my lift pump and the $300 for my cold air intake and the $500 for my exhaust, the biggest noticeable difference in how my truck performs right now was cost me $8. $8. So when I got this truck, it was very neglected. A lot of you know that from previous videos. Oil changes hadn't been regular. Diff changes hadn't been regular. Transmission service hadn't been done. Fuel filter hadn't been changed in a long time. Air filter was 4 to 6 years old. So it was very much neglected when I bought this truck. And I went through and replaced all of that stuff. And even after replacing everything, driving my dad's LBZ, same year as mine, his is just a GMC, and he's running a little bit smaller tires, but apples to apples, it's pretty close to the same truck. His has got only about 100,000 miles, whereas mine's at 178,000, almost 180,000 miles. So driving his, it just seemed like his just had more lower in power, more consistent. Mine, you know, sometimes it seemed like this thing just was all out, balls to the wall, and then sometimes this thing felt like a dog. And so I thought maybe it's just, you know, I'm getting bad diesel somewhere, or maybe I'm, you know, maybe it's my injectors, and I just didn't quite understand what was going on. And so I got out on the forums, and on the Facebook pages of like LBZ and whatnot, and asked the simple question, kind of explained, and somebody said, hey, with a truck that's been that neglected, try cleaning the MAF sensor, mass airflow sensor. They make a can of MAF sensor cleaner you can pick up, and I thought he was kind of jerking my leg. Then I went out on Amazon, and sure as shit, there's a mass airflow sensor cleaner. And so the next day I stopped off at the local parts store, picked up a can of mass airflow sensor cleaner, came home, popped the 2 screws out of my air box and pulled the mass airflow sensor out, unplugged it, sprayed it down like 3 or 4 times, let it dry for about 5-10 minutes, popped it back in, and let me tell you, that $8 gave me more power than the $1,500 I'd spent prior to that. So any of you guys out there with a truck that feels a little sluggish, a little doggy, you know, these trucks have 300, you know, like mine, it's, you know, 350 horsepower, 360 horsepower, 660 foot-pounds of torque, and there's no way it should really feel that sluggish. So if you ever get into a situation where your truck feels sluggish, pop your mass airflow sensor out and clean it and see what happens, and before you do anything else. So I'm going to start making that part of my oil change routine or air filter change routine. Pop the MAF sensor out, clean it, put the MAF sensor back, and put the new air filter in. And so yeah, guys, like I said, that $8 can of MAF sensor cleaner gave me more power than all of the other things that I had done and tried to gain power. It's just basically made my power more reliable. Like I said, sometimes it seemed like it would just run like a rape date, and then sometimes it seemed like I couldn't get this thing to run for nothing. Oh, that sounds so good. Any man who doesn't love the sound of a good 4 or 5 inch Duramax exhaust and that turbo whistle probably has a vagina. I'm just saying. So anyway, guys, that's all I have for you. Like I said, check your mass airflow sensors, clean them. You might be surprised at what happens. That dog that you might have might turn into a racer. So anyway, guys, sorry I haven't been on very much. Just one of them things, and I will do my best to do better, and I'll see you guys in the next video.